Muyeol with the cross. Ah, yes! And it's the man who missed the penalty who scores the winner. What a story! And Jung Muyeol!
You're listening to the K-League United podcast, proud partner of Football Nation Radio.
Hello and afternoon, welcome to episode 3 of the K-League United 2002 World Cup Rewind. I'm Paul Neat, and joining me is a man who, in 2002, had his bedroom wall covered with Sean Goater posters. It's Matthew Binns.
I was worried where you were going with that, Paul, then for a second. Yeah, I mean, why not? He's just fired City to the Nationwide Football League Division 1 title. Actually, I've got Sean Goater's autograph, not from 2002, mind. I got it the start of the 2003-2004 season when he had just left City. I actually I've got his autograph, and Luis Enrique, the current Spain boss, I got his autograph as well in the same match program because it was Man City versus Barcelona in the opener for the City of Manchester Stadium, which does have a 2002 link because it was the first time Ronaldinho recently signed for Barcelona, lining up against David Seaman, who had just lined up for who just signed for City. So yeah,
There we go.
Just bringing the connection back around there. But yeah, I've got Sean Goater's autograph, and yeah, that friendly actually it kind of fits into where we're going today, Paul, because it was also ahead of the season that City signed Captain America himself, which is Claudio Reyna. We thought though he's actually playing for Sunderland during this particular competition.
Ah, yes. Well, going back to City winning the Division 1 title, we being Preston North End, we beat you at home that season. Johnny Macken scored from the halfway line, a volley from the halfway line, audacious. I was there as well, and it was the first game that the new Town End was open. The newly refurbished and rebuilt Town End opened on that exact game, and the paint was barely even dry. But sticking with the Preston connection, we also had USA striker Brian McBride on loan the season before that. But enough of us, or me rather, shoehorning in Preston North End references. We are continuing on our trip down memory lane and reliving South Korea's incredible run to the semi-finals of the 2002 World Cup. And on this day, June 10th, 2002, Korea played the USA in what was match 2 in Group D. If you missed the Poland and opening ceremony episodes, they are still available to be listened to. Video versions are on YouTube as well. But before we get into the match itself, Binns, what was going on in the world back then on June 10th, 2002?
Well, big news in the music world as La Ketchup released the Ketchup song, which massive summer hit that was in the UK. Foolish by Ashanti is still top of the Billboard Hot 100. In fact, the Billboard Hot 100 is currently Foolish by Ashanti, I Need a Girl Part 1 by P. Diddy featuring Usher and Loon, What's Love by Fat Joe featuring Ashanti. Double featuring twice here. Without Me, Eminem creeping in at number 4, and Hot in Here by Nelly. That's Hot in Here with 2 R's. Quite the misspelling there by Nelly, but perfectly acceptable song for this era, as removing shirts is yet to be a bookable offence, Paul. Yesterday, the much talked about US drama The Wire, that released its 2nd episode, and it's critically acclaimed at the moment. So get on that. I think it's going to be a good show. Top of the US box office, though, was The Sum of All Fears, released this week. Not related to the threat posed by Korea to the US after their convincing opening round win against Poland, though. And in football news, Anelka has joined from Manchester City. Well, has joined from Manchester City. Rather, he's joined Manchester City from PSG in a £12 million deal. 2 sleeping giants of football, I feel, there, Manchester City and PSG. Who knows what they could be if they just had the investment. Rivaldo has left Barca to join AC Milan, and Ronaldo, because there is only one Ronaldo, has joined Real Madrid for 45 million euros.
Indeed. In some other sports news, going back a few days, June 8th was the French Women's Open tennis. The Williams sisters played out that one in the final. Serena won. She wins her first French title, 7-5, 6-3. The following day was the LPGA Championship Women's Golf. Park Se-ri of South Korea wins her second of 3 titles in this event. She finished 3 strokes ahead of Beth Daniel. And then on the same day in the French Open men's tennis, it was an all-Spanish final. Albert Costa beat Juan Carlos Ferrero 6-1, 6-love, 4-6, 6-3 for his lone major title.
All right. Well, Paul, teams are out, so let's have a look at the lineups.
Yes, indeed. We'll start obviously with South Korea. It's a 3-3-3-1. Goal number 1, Eun Jae. Back 3, of Chejin Chol. Hom Young-bo is captain number 20, and Kim Tae-young. Then at right wing back, Song Jong-guk. In midfield, we have Yoo Sang-chol and Kim Nam-il, number 6 and number 5. At the left wing back position is number 13, Lee Il-yong. Park Ji-sung, number 21 in the middle. And then up top, we have number 18, Hwang Sun-ong, and number 9, Sol Ki-hyun. For the United States, number 1, Brad Friedel. 22, Anthony Sanna. 23, Eddie Pope. 12, Jeff Agus. Number 2, Frankie Hayduk. 21, Landon Donovan. Number 10, and captain Claudio Reyna. Number 5, John O'Brien. 17, DeMarcus Beasley. Number 11, Clint Mathis. And number 20, Brian McBride. It's the same starting 11 for Korea that beat Poland. No surprises there, I suppose, after that convincing 2-0 win, Matthew.
Why change a winning formula? The team that played against Poland, we were very impressed with the way they attacked. And Gus Hiddink feels that the same 11 can get the job done here. Yes,
right. Well, the teams are out on the pitch. We are at Daegu Stadium. The pitch is very, very far away with that running track around Daegu World Cup Stadium. But it didn't start off too well for Korea. 20 seconds in, you can imagine Gus Hiddink just saying, just keep it tight, lads, nothing silly. Well, the USA get a free kick 20 seconds in, and it's about 18 yards out and just off towards the touchline. A dangerous spot. Kim Nam-il is the offender. He brings down DeMarcus Beasley. Claudio Reyna, the obviously USA captain, he takes it, but luckily for Korea, the free kick is poor. It is mishit, and they get away with it.
Yeah, and then we get our first chance on 5 minutes. It's a poor clearance by Frankie Hayduk, straight to Song Jong-guk. Gives it to Kim Nam-il, then Park Ji-sung. Under pressure, shows tenacity to break down the right. Cuts it back into Hwang Sung-hong. Lovely dink cross to the far post, but Sol Ki-hyun's left foot volley blazes over.
Indeed, yeah. It was a bit of a scrappy first 8 minutes, I think. And we had a chance or a shot from Kim Nam-il. He went for a lob with his bleached blonde hair. Audacious at that. Yeah, you're right. But I mentioned this in the previous game in the match against Poland, but Korea really had a lot of forward options. Obviously, that front two of Hwang and Sol Ki-hyun worked so well. Cheong-soo on the bench as well, of course. But Korea just seemed to lack a little bit of composure in the early stages of this one. That kind of allowed USA to have their first chance on around 20 minutes, or first sort of real chance, Brian McBride. Then on 21 minutes, Hwang Sun-ong goes down with a head injury, emerges later with his Mr. Bump cosplay.
Yeah, and kind of threw Korea a bit momentum-wise, that as well, because they were making some good attacking plays, but then as soon as Hwang goes down, USA, they take the lead 2 minutes later. O'Brien, he bursts forward. It's good run from the centre midfield, and he spots the run of Matisse. It touches it, right foot touch, left foot finish from Matisse. Great goal.
Yeah, and we'll hear what the commentary says next, but the reaction to it is hilarious. He could not have sounded any more depressed if he tried. It was just, I know it's Korean commentary, and I know he's has to get behind the home team, but it's just Yeah, let's take a listen.
김남일
힘을
또
주문하면서
들어갔어요.
자 김남일 자 하지만 오브라이언 치고 들어갑니다. 오브라이언 자 왼쪽 측면에서 앞으로 잘 연결됐습니다. 출자 슛 골입니다. 골.
수비수가 뒤로
매티스.
들어가는 매티스를 놓쳤어요. 문보 선수가 오른쪽으로 지우쳤거든요.
매티스
황선홍 선수가 잠시 나가 있는 틈을 완전히 활용하고 있는 미국 팀입니다.
네.
And then another injury. This time it's Park Ji-sung who goes off injured in the 38th minute. On comes Lee Chun-soo, who has showed how dangerous that he can be, obviously in the first game. But very shortly after, Korea get a penalty. Lee Chun-soo, obviously an instant impact. He dinks the ball into the box, but Hwang Sun-ong goes down after contact by Jeff Agus.
자 왼쪽으로 꺾어줬습니다. 여기서 더 치고 들어갑니다. 이을령 이천수에게 찍어서 올렸고요. 설기현
걸렸어요.
슛! 펀칭!
페널티킥을 줍니다.
페널티입니다. 페널티.
황선홍을
황선홍을 밀었어요.
문전 세대의
페널티
상황에서
동쪽골이 나오고
미국의
있습니다.
아구스 선수가 황선홍 선수에게 반칙을 했거든요.
네네.
설기현에게 패스가 갈 때 황선홍 선수가 수비를 제치고 들어가는 상황에서 미국의 아구스 선수 화면에 나오죠.
네.
아구스 선수가 황선홍을 반칙을 했기 때문에 페널티킥이 주어집니다. 상당히 노련하고
네.
심장이 강한 선수가 제되거든요.
자 이을령의 왼발에
Up steps
걸렸습니다.
이을령.
동쪽골이 터지는
Quickly,
순간입니다.
Matthew. Will he
이을령
score?
잘 찾으길 바랍니다. 11m 거리
Yeah.
슛!
Oh, it's saved. Brad Friedel saves it, and the rebound
이을령.
comes out to Kim Nam-il, but that goes wide. And the first half ends more or less there. Shortly after, it's USA 1, Korea 0.
And then teams came back out for the second half, and Korea was straight back in the action. Seol Ki-hyun with a chance on 48 minutes. A real handful is what I have in these notes, as well as a great link-up play with Hwang Sun-hong. But Hwang goes down. He goes off. Sorry, he goes off on 56 minutes to be replaced by An Jung-hwan. I wonder what he's going to be doing.
That's a bit of foreshadowing there. If this was a movie, USA they got a bit sloppy in this second half. I think Cheong-soo, he came on as well in the 69th minute, had a shot almost straight away. Looked a bit annoyed with it, but then again, he always does look a little bit irritated and a bit scary. So it's hard to tell what he really feels. But then, 78 minutes, Matthews, a goal, I believe.
Yeah, it's USA 1, Korea 1. Lee Il-young making up for his missed pen earlier. He takes a free kick, great ball in towards the penalty spot, and An Jung-hwan connects with a great header. Friedel rooted to the spot, and he has quite the celebration. The commentator is mentioning something about speed skating.
하고 뛰어나올 때 이들을 해줘야 돼요.
자, 골밑으로 올라갑니다. 뒷전 헤딩!
골이에요.
골! 안정환! 역시 안정환!
천부적인 골 감각을 가진 안정환이에요.
해냈습니다. 안정환의 동점골! 안정환!
Yes, so great celebration. Lee Sung-woo thinks he can dance. Well, he hasn't seen anything yet. Yeah, great celebration. And from Wikipedia, I've got this as some more of my extensive research on Wikipedia. It says that in a group match against the United States, An imitated a speed skater during his goal celebration after scoring the equalizer in order to protest the controversial disqualification of Korean short track speed skater Kim Dong-sung in the 1500 meters at the 2002 Winter Olympics. That allowed American Apollo Ono to win the gold medal. So it was a dig at the Olympic Commission and whatnot with that one.
Must have been holding on to that since he heard the announcement of the groups there. But fantastic goal by An.
Great header.
Yeah, and how it wasn't 2-1, I'll never know. There was a chance to win it in the 88th minute. Lee Chun-soo does well to get in behind. He cuts the ball back to Chae-young-soo. The way Lee Chun-soo's stop made it look like the offside flag had been raised because the play came to a standstill, but then he played the cross to Che, who 6 yard out. He tries to turn the ball in from 7 yards, but it somehow goes over. Che looks bemused.
Yeah, the whole stadium, I think, were on their feet, ready to celebrate this one. I don't know. It's one of those things where you watch it and you think, every time you watch that replay, you think it's going to go in. It's like the Paul Gascoigne one in Euro 96 against Germany. When you watch it, next time it'll go in. This is the same with this one. But I don't know, maybe it was just a man feeling a bit of pressure, coming on as a sub to make an impact. Like I said earlier, Korea had very good forward options, and perhaps he came on, he feels like he has to do something, maybe trying a bit too hard, he's not relaxed. But the ball goes over, but in the end, a 1-1 draw is probably a fair result in front of a 60,000 strong crowd there in Daegu, more than the Poland game. Obviously, that was down in Busan. That was 48,760.
Yep.
So, 4 points from Korea's first 2 games. That's a solid start.
Indeed, and I mentioned it in the Poland game. I thought I was surprised at how attacking, how adventurous Korea were in this game, especially after An Jung-hwan came on. We saw quite a lot of back heels, a lot of confident moves, the way they just dragged the ball with their feet to control. I mean, they looked relaxed at times. There were some scrappy moments in that game, and certainly the opening minutes and maybe the closing minutes they could have done with a bit more finesse, but there was moments of just pure confidence from the South Korean side, and it like going back and looking at it again, it goes against how I remembered it, and
I
thought they played really well.
Confident that they were. You're right. How just how much confidence that Gus Hiddink had instilled in his players, and obviously the effect that the home crowd had. That's 2 big attendances, both with very loud support. So yeah, it really just shows how effective that can be. But it's time now to bring in Muyeol. I spoke with him about this game, and here's what he had to say. All right, Muyeol, welcome back. We are now into the USA game in your hometown of Daegu. Where did you watch this one?
Well, unfortunately, I couldn't get a ticket for this game, so I watched it at Gukchaebosang Park at the center of Daegu, where like a big screen was set up for people.
And what was that like? It was a crazy atmosphere.
It was crazy, but it was bloody hot and sunny. The weather in Korea, in Daegu.
In Daegu in particular, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Daegu is obviously in a basin, isn't it? So it's even hotter than most areas of South Korea.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, obviously after the Poland game, a great win, great performance, 2-0 victory for Korea. What were the expectations, do you think, heading into the USA game?
Well, I think a lot of the optimisms start rising in people's mind after the very promising start to the campaign. However, but the US, they beat Poland in their first game of the group stage, which really wasn't good for South Korean team. So I think people were very nervous and worried about the tie against USA.
Yeah. All right. Well, there was no team selection changes by Gus Hiddink from the team that beat Poland. Did that make sense, do you think, after the performance and a win and a clean sheet?
Yeah, I think it made a lot of sense because we played very well in the first game of the group stage, so there's really no need to change the squad unless there's any serious injury.
Yeah, and in this one though, Korea went 1-0 down and had to come back to earn a draw. What were your thoughts on the performance then in the USA game?
Well, I think it was a really tough game for South Korea because I think the players still looked very nervous on the pitch, and also the very hot and sunny weather didn't help South Korea either. So I think they looked very nervous and they seemed out of their depth on the pitch in the first half, and also they earned a penalty, and which we should have scored, but I think because of that penalty miss, I think this game went in favor of United States rather than South Korea.
Yeah, you mentioned the penalty. Lee Chon-soo was fouled, I believe, and then Lee Il-yong took it and missed. Was that the right person to take the spot kick? Obviously not in hindsight, but did he normally take spot kicks for South Korea,
Well,
Il-yong?
I think as far as I know, Lee Chun-soo was not on the list for the penalty kick, and Lee Yul-yong was he was promised to take a penalty, but apparently he was also very nervous on the game, and then nobody actually expect to earn the penalty in the game, so it came just all of a sudden.
Yeah, I would just expect one of the two strikers to take it, but luckily for Korea, they got away with it because they did find the equalizer. Was it relief for you at that point when Korea did score?
Yeah, it was a huge relief actually. I think the equalizer came in the late second half. I think like almost like 15 minutes away from the full time, so it was a huge relief because just the United States was very resolute in terms of like a defense on the pitch. So I think most of people thought we might not be able to find any equalizer in this game.
Yeah, and I think it was Lee Yul-yong who put the ball in as well. He kind of atoned for his missed penalty. Great ball in, and a great goal as well. A great headed goal by An Jong-hwan.
Yes, it was Lee Yul-yong who put the ball up in the air.
Yeah, what are your standout moments then from that game, or anything that you a memory that you might have? It might not even be a particularly important moment in the game, but 20 years later, we all have these memories just in our heads for some reason. Is there anything else that stands out in your mind from that match?
Well, I think there have been always two talking points about these games in South Korea media. So the first one is like the goal celebration after South Korea equalized.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the one talking point.
Yeah.
And the other was like the Choi Young-soo, the current Gangwon FC manager, who missed a sitter in the game. That was, I mean, still a lot of the players, a lot of the 2002 World Cup player, they appeared on TV and then they get asked about that situation. How could he miss that chance in front of goal? I think it's even within 6-yard box.
자, 힘에서 이어졌는데요. 자, 또 잘하면 손이 뒤쪽에 받아주는 선수 있습니다. 백샷! 높았습니다. 최영수 선수죠. 최영수.
And he's, if anybody's going to be back to score from that kind of range, it's him. All right. Well, what was the reaction afterwards then, do you think? Obviously, you felt relieved, you said, after the goal, after the final whistle. Was it, okay, that was a fair result? Or was it, we could have won that?
I think fans were very relieved after the equalizer. And the people were particularly chuffed with that goal celebrations. I think that was kind of big thing in Korea by then. So I think overall people were happy with the result and it was fair result. But in hindsight, I think they start worrying because we are going to face Portugal in a group stage game, and we need at least draw against them to progress to the next round.
Well, speaking of that game, yes,
Fans, we want to hear
from you
from
later for that
You're
one. Muyeol,
encouraged
thanks
to
again,
email KLU
and we'll see you up
at
in
info
Incheon
at
for the Portugal game.
kleagueunited.com or
Thank you very
tweet
much.
at K-League United with any questions, comments or reactions. Or ask directly during one of our live shows.
Well, Matthew, it's time to catch up with some of the other results that have happened since the last episode up until today. So what have we learned so far, and what other results have we seen?
Okay, so on the 5th of June, USA beat Portugal 3-2. Paulo Bento, current Korean national team manager, was on the bench for that, but did come on in the 69th minute. Germany 1, Republic of Ireland 1. Another goal for Klose to make it 4 for him and take him closer to the Golden Boot. Russia 2, Tunisia 0 in Group H as well. And then on the 6th of June, Uruguay 1, Denmark 2, and France 0, Uruguay 0. That is Group A. That's holders France. They're still looking for a first win in this competition. Cameroon then played against Saudi Arabia, coming out 1-0 winners in Group E. 7th of June, Spain 3, Paraguay 1, and that was in Group B. Group F saw Sweden beat Nigeria 2-1. And the other important game in Group F was Argentina 0, England 1.
Who scored that one then?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. Narrative klaxon alert. David Beckham with a penalty just before half time, and you wouldn't believe it. Didn't even place it, just absolutely smashed it down the middle. I've seen
Redemption.
that. They've got that football in the National Football Museum in the UK in Manchester. I've seen that. Wasn't why I went to the museum. I didn't go just to see that to the altar of David Beckham's penalty, but yeah, they've got that in there. But yes, carrying on with the scores and away from talking about England like we have done on the previous pods, the 8th of June saw South Africa beat Slovenia 1-0 in Group B, while in Group C, Brazil saw off China by 4-0. And then in Group G, surprise result, Italy losing 2-1 to Croatia. Then yesterday, 9th of June, Costa Rica 1, Turkey 1 in Group C, Mexico 2, Ecuador 1 in Group G, and Japan 1, Russia 0 in Group H. The co-host there recording a win. But yep, June 10th today, as we know, South Korea 1, USA 1 in Group D, and reports from elsewhere suggest that Portugal have beaten Poland 4-0. A hat-trick from Paletta, I'm hearing, has put him into the Golden Boot race, making things quite tasty ahead of the final group game. And also in Group H, Tunisia 1, Belgium 1. And that's
Excellent.
the results.
There we go. Thanks for that. Right. Well, another episode coming up on June 14th for Portugal versus South Korea, which will be at the Incheon Munhak Stadium. Join us up there. I can't wait until the KTX starts running. With all this traveling that we've been doing.
Yeah, well, it's Mugunghwa for now. I hope you got our tickets booked.
Yes. We'll see you all in Incheon then. Thank you for listening.